Hello, this is Joe Williams from Almost Daily View from the Border. Good afternoon. Um, I'm here today to begin our little pilgrimage toward the Mueller report, which in fact is officially called the report on the investigation into Russia interference in the 2016 presidential election, volumes 1 and 2. Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III submitted pursuant to 28 CFR 608, Washington, D.C., March 2019. Okay. Now, to begin our little trek down this very, very detailed road, we're going to begin with the Attorney General letter to the special committees, Judiciary committees in the House and the Senate. Okay. This is on March 24th, 2019. Dear Chairman Graham, Chairman Nadler, Ranking Member Feinstein, and Ranking Member Collins. As a supplement to the notification provided on Friday, March 22nd, 2019, I am writing today to advise you of the principal conclusions reached by Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III and to inform you about the status of my initial review of the report he has prepared. The Special Counsel's report. On Friday, the Special Counsel submitted to me a confidential report explaining the prosecution or declination decision he has reached as required by 28 CFR 608C. This report is entitled The Report on the Investigation into Russian Interference in the 2016 Presidential Election. Although my review is ongoing, I believe that it is in the public interest to describe the report and to summarize the principal conclusions reached by the Special Counsel and the results of his investigation. The report explains that the Special Counsel and his staff thoroughly investigated allegations that members of the presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump and others associated with it conspired with the Russian government in its effort to interfere in the 2016 U.S. presidential election or sought to obstruct the related federal investigations. In the report, the Special Counsel noted that in completing his investigation, he employed 19 lawyers who were assisted by a team of approximately 400 FBI agents, intelligence analysis, forensic accountants, and other professional staff. The Special Counsel issued more than 2,800 subpoenas, executed by nearly 500 search warrants. Wow, what a number. Obtained more than 230 orders of communication records, issued almost 50 orders authorizing use of pen registers, made 13 requests to foreign governments for evidence, and interviewed approximately 500 witnesses. Well, that start is a mouthful. Now we go to page 2. The Special Counsel obtained a number of indictments and convictions of individuals and entities in connection with his investigations, all of which have been publicly disclosed. During the course of his investigation, the Special Counsel also referred several matters to other offices for further action. The report does not recommend any further indictments, nor did the Special Counsel obtain any sealed indictments that have yet to be made public. Below, I summarize the principal conclusions set out in the Special Counsel's report. Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The Special Counsel's report is divided into two parts. The first describes the results of the Special Counsel's regulation into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The report outlines the Russian efforts to influence the election and documents crimes committed by persons associated with the Russian government in connection with those efforts. The report further explains that a primary consideration of the Special Counsel's investigation was whether any Americans, including individuals associated with the Trump campaign, joined the Russian conspiracies to influence the election, which would be a federal crime. The special counsel's investigations did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with Russia in its efforts to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election. As the report states, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. Okay. Now there is an Appendix 1, okay, which read, in assessing potential conspiracy charges, the special counsel also considered whether members of the Trump campaign coordinated with Russian election interference activities. The special counsel defined coordination as an agreement, tactic, or express between the Trump campaign and the Russian government on election interference. Okay? Third paragraph on page 2. The special counsel's investigation determined that there were two main Russian efforts to influence the 2016 election. The first involved attempts by the Russian organization, the Internet Research Agency, IRA, to conduct disinformation and social media operations in the United States designed to sow social discord and eventually with the aim of interfering with the election. As noted above, the special counsel did not find that any of the U.S. persons or Trump campaign officials or associated conspired or knowingly coordinated with the IRA in its efforts. Although the special counsel brought criminal charges against a number of Russian nationals and entities in connection with these activities. The second element involved the Russian government's efforts to conduct computer hacking operations designed to gather and disseminate information to influence the election. The special counsel found that the Russian government actors successfully hacked into computers and obtained emails from persons affiliated with the Clinton campaign and Democratic Party organizations, and publicly disseminated those materials through various intermediaries, including WikiLeaks. Based on these activities, the special counsel brought criminal charges against a number of Russian military officers for conspiring to hack into computers in the United States for the purpose of influencing elections. But as noted above, the special counsel did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in these efforts, despite multiple offers from Russian affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign. All right, page 3. Obstruction of justice. The report's second part addresses a number of actions by the president, most of which have been the subject of public reporting, that the special counsel investigated as potentially raising obstruction of justice concern. After making a thorough factual investigation into these matters, the special counsel considered whether to evaluate the conduct under the department standards governing prosecution and declination decisions, but ultimately determined not to make a traditional prosecutorial judgment. The special counsel, therefore, did not draw a conclusion, one way or the other, as to whether the examined conduct constituted obstruction. Instead, for each of the relevant actions investigated, the report sets out evidence on both sides of the question and leaves unresolved what the special counsel views as difficult issues of law and fact concerning whether the president's actions and intent could be viewed as obstruction. The special counsel states that while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. So, he's not guilty of a crime, but we can't exonerate the fact that he committed a crime. That's kind of weird, okay? But we continue. The special counsel's decision to describe the facts of his obstruction investigation without reaching any legal conclusion leaves it to the Attorney General to determine whether the conduct described in the report constitutes a crime. Over the course of the investigation, the special counsel's office engaged in discussions with certain department officials regarding many of the legal and factual matters that at issue in the special counsel's obstruction investigation. After reviewing the special counsel's final report on these issues, consulting with department officials, including the Office of Legal Counsel, and applying the principles of federal prosecutions that guide our charging decisions, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and I have concluded that the evidence developed during the special counsel's investigation is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense. Our determination was made without regard to and is not based on the constitutional considerations that surround the indictment and criminal prosecution of a sitting president. Now that's an Appendix 2, which at the bottom of page C, a sitting president's amendability to indictment and criminal prosecution, 24 OP, Office of Legal Counsel, 222-2000. Now, in making this determination, we note that the special counsel recognizes that the evidence does not establish that the president was involved in any underlying crime related to Russian election interference, and that, while not determinative, the absence of such evidence bears upon the president's intent with respect to obstruction. Generally speaking, to obtain and sustain an obstruction conviction, the government would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a person acting with corrupt intent engaged in obstruction conduct with a sufficient nexus to a pending or contemplated proceeding. In cataloging the president's actions, many of which took place in public view, the report identifies no actions that, in our judgment, constitute obstructive conduct, had a nexus to a pending or contemplated proceedings, and were done with corrupt intent, each of which, under the department's principles of federal prosecution guiding charging decisions, would need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt to establish an obstruction of justice offense. Okay, so the status of the department's review. The relevant regulations contemplated that the special counsel's report will be a confidential report to the Attorney General. See the Office of Special Counsel, 64 Federal Reg 37,038, 37,040-41, July 9th, 1999. As I have previously stated, I am mindful of the public's interest in this matter. For that reason, my goal and intent is to release as much of the special counsel's report as I can consistent with For a reason, my goal and intent is to release as much of the special counsel's report as I can consistent with applicable law, regulations, and departmental policies. Oh, tongue twisters, huh? Based on my decision with the special counsel and my initial review, it is apparent that the report contains materials that is or could be subject to a federal rule of criminal procedure 6E, which imposes restrictions on the use and disclosure of information relating to matters occurring before a grand jury. Federal Regulation of Criminal Proceedings 6E 2B. Rule 6E generally limits disclosures of certain grand jury information in a criminal investigation and prosecution, i.e. disclosure of 6E material beyond the strict limits set forth in the rule is a crime to certain circumstances. See example 18 U.S.C. 413. This restriction protects the integrity of the grand jury proceedings and ensures that the unique and invaluable investigative powers of the grand jury are used strictly for their intended criminal justice function. Given these restrictions, the schedule for proceeding the report depends in part on how quickly the department can identify the 6E material that by law cannot be made public. I have requested the assistance of the special counsel in identifying all 6E information contained in the report as quickly as possible. Separately, I must also identify any information that could impact in other ongoing matters, including those that the special counsel will have referred to other offices. As soon as that process is complete, I will be in a position to move forward expeditiously in determining what can be released in light of the applicable law, regulations, and departmental policies. In the final paragraph, as I observe in my general initial notification, the special counsel regulation provide that the Attorney General may determine that public release of notifications to your respective committees will be in the public interest. 28 CFR 609C. I have also determined, and I will disclose this letter to the public after delivering it to you. Sincerely, William P. Barr, Attorney General. So, that was surely a mouthful. Okay? So, all 4 pages of Barr's letter to the Judiciary Committees have been officially read into our records. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is going to take a moment, and then we're going to be discussing Mueller's response to Barr's letter. All right? We'll be back with you in a little bit.